This is a shout out. This is the word to the MRAs the world over for this June 17, 2012, which should be a happy Father's Day. Unfortunately, because of the, um, the feminist stronghold that's enslaved, that's taken hold of the family, fatherhood has been relegated to the back burner in society. But before we could discuss fatherhood, let's discuss a more pertinent issue called marriage. You see, the greatest precursor to fatherhood was marriage, and the best way to qualify for paternity was matrimony, holy matrimony, that is, not the watered down, diluted version that society offers us now. At the risk of offending women, I have to say this because there's a tendency, a trend that I've noticed in society, which is they in scientific terms they call entropy. That is the tendency for things to deteriorate. Society is deteriorating basically because the things, the element that was holding the fabric of society intact was the fathers. Yes, that's right. Not the mothers. The mothers do not, the women do not keep the society intact. After, as a matter of fact, when the woman sees control of the reins of a society, that's when the society is about to fall apart. You'll notice that in every society that once you let women take over, it goes to literally to the dogs. The men have held up the banner of honor, of valor, of character, of integrity for eons, and yet they will succumb to the feminine wiles of power mad women who, for no other reason, want to have the control and the power and the glory as well as the honor that go with being a father. Womanhood and motherhood has its place, and it also has its own sets of honors that are accorded to it. But fatherhood is something totally different, and it's distinguishable by the fact that only a man can be a father. No matter how much a woman says that by making provision for children, that is, getting a job and being able to provide food, shelter, and clothing for a child makes her a father as well as a mother. It's just the egotistical narcissist way of trying to play God. And as a man of valor, I say enough is enough. We've come to the point now where the battle lines have been clearly drawn. The real men of valor are standing on one side, the chumps on the other side who are still chasing the woman, trying to see if they can get laid. And these chumps are just making the situation worse, you see, because the more you try to get laid, and if that's all you living for, you only making the problem worse because you're the one who's helping these foolish women breed. But I digress. The battle lines have been drawn now, and the real men are on one side, lined up preparing for war. The majority of them don't know who their adversary is. So I'm going to give it to you in brief detail. Her name is Nemesis. Nemesis is the same so-called mythological Greek deity that wants vengeance. If you notice that the outlying theme of the feminist movement is revenge. They don't want equality. They want to even the score. They want to take vengeance out on the men for what they believe are generations of oppression by the male gender. these foolish women do not realize that by destroying the men in society will leave them to rot as well. But they don't care. The only thing that matters to these narcissists is that they feel good about themselves. They don't care who they destroy. They destroy their children with choice, the right to abort their babies, even after they're born. And when the relationship ends, they destroy their men, the father of their children, literally and figuratively, especially financially. And then they move on, like a grazing animal, like locusts. They feed, they breed, they devour and devastate the landscape, and then they just move on. And this moving on aspect is something that's prevalent in all relationships that end. The woman is constantly urged to move on. Like I said, like a grazing herd of cattle, or more appropriately, a swarm of locusts. Because you'll notice that they all seem to think alike. Nemesis is out to destroy you. And gentlemen, I'm loath to tell you that Nemesis is a spirit. You cannot engage the enemy with carnal weapons. You will not win. That's why the men's rights movement is almost doomed to failure, because the people who are at the forefront of the movement, the so-called vanguards, don't have the weapon to fight. They fighting with words and with attitude, and of course they got some knowledge, and knowledge is always a good thing, but they lacking the real knowledge, which is, in order to combat a spirit, you have to have the right spirit, and you have to fight them in the spirit. You can't beat them in the flesh. This is Vanguard Keeps. I'll be back. And I want to wish all you warriors on the battlefield happy Father's Day. The battle has just begun. Peace.